guys, this is Justin, V55 Restorations again. Another episode of V55 Garage. I'm going to be doing our trailers too, and any other trailers that come through. So we'll start with this one. This is a 1961 Shasta Astrodome. It's actually sold already, so I wanted to do a video before it disappears. Normally, I don't buy them and then sell them. Still projects, I usually buy them and then finish them. But as you can see, the yard's a little bit full right now, so I needed to get rid of one. But anyway, so Shasta Astrodome, this is a 16-foot, the smallest you can get with a toilet in it. They only made these for three years, 61, 62, 63. And what makes it Astro is the overhang on the top, which I'll get to in a minute. And the dome, there's an Astro Flight and an Astrodome. The dome means it has a toilet. Anyway, super cool, pretty rare trailer. Shastas are the most popular in terms of the old Can-Ham trailers for a couple of reasons. One, there was just a lot of them made. They were pretty popular at the time. More than that, they're just cool looking. They have a good shape, and they had wings. If you've ever seen trailers with the wings, the silver wings on top, it's a Shasta. And this one had wings. They're not on it currently. You can see the screw holes where they would go. Basically, when you find a Shasta in project condition, 9 out of 10 times the wings are gone. A couple reasons why. One, if there's water damage and that wood starts to rot, and those screws don't have anything to hold to. If they catch wind, they'll just disappear down the road. But more often than that, if you bought this in 61, and it had the wings on it, by 65, those wings would look really outdated. And 50s was way in the rearview mirror. Muscle cars were on the road. You know, the hippie stuff's coming down the pipe. So it's very past, even though it was 5 years prior. So a lot of people just took the wings off, just because then it looks like a 60s trailer, you know, and you don't have that kind of kitschy thing anymore. They've come back now, and now everybody wants the wings back on them, and there's a couple places that reproduce them. But anyway, this would have had the wings, being a Shasta. And if you guys haven't heard it already, we're in my backyard right now. I keep my I don't keep trailers at the shop. I keep them in my yard. But we got a bunch of chickens running around too, so you're not crazy. You're probably hearing chickens. So marker lights on these, if it's past a certain length, usually it's bigger than 10 feet, you're gonna have dual marker lights. You're gonna have amber in the front and red in the rear. Teardrop ones were Shasta, later Shasta ones. Earlier ones have they're like a beehive. I actually like those ones better. But back here, this is the original paint line for Shasta. It's a zigzag. This is not the original paint, but it is the same original pattern. You can see the lights are gone. They do reproduce. If you're going to start a project trailer, Shasta's a good one to go with because they reproduce the most things for this. Trailers don't really have a ton of reproduction parts, but in terms of a specific trailer, there was dozens of different companies. Most of them were only in business for a couple years. You're not ever going to find parts for them. Shastas, they do reproduce certain parts like lenses, things like that. So it's your best bet. But mostly if you're looking at buying a project trailer, you want to look for completeness and see if everything's there. Condition is actually secondary to completeness, because you can fix things, but you can't make them out of thin air. So this is not the original bumper. This is somebody added that on. It would have just been a simpler bumper. There's nothing really on this side to see. So coming on this side, this is a storage door underneath here. You got your step to go in. You can see the front of these. You can kind of see because the tree's in the way, but on Shastas there's this, 58, they changed to this kind of body setup, and there's a forward slant to them. You can see on the rear it gets way taller up here. And try to ignore the bunk section, because that, like I said, is the Astro section. But the regular ones, the air flights, like the one I built a little bit ago, the 58, it's the same body. They just cut it off there. But that, if you look at the front, it leans forward. And these windows lean forward. They're not square, they're angled. And so the whole trailer will have a kind of a hunch to it, make it look like it's kind of forward thrown. And with the wings, that looks really good. It's a really good shape. So, and they were the only ones that really did that. So if you see one that kind of looks like it's like leaning forward, it's probably a Shasta. So specifically the Astrodome has, this is what differentiates it from the outside. There's a lot different on the inside because of it, but this is what's different on the outside. It's like a camper. It goes over whatever you're towing it with. It'll lean over that a little bit, but mostly it just covers the tongue. And what that is, it's a whole other sleeping area. So you still have a 16-foot trailer, but you get an extra bed, which is pretty cool. It does catch a ton of wind when it's driving, and it throws all the weight of the trailer, since the axle is in the same place as it would be on the standard air flight, that's just a square. The axle's in the same place, and so all of this extra weight is thrown way up on the trailer and onto your tongue. So it ends up being a lot heavier tongue weight than an air flight would be, but I mean, it's not crazy. These things aren't heavy anyway. Me and another person can lift this. Dual tanks would have been run Blackwater stuff, because there is, like I said, a toilet on this one. So when I bought this, I bought it out in LA. It was in the back of a garage yard, like a industrial, and there was a meth head living in it at the time, and he had taken foil and styrofoam and duct tape and covered all of the walls and the roof and everything in this trailer with foil because it was too hot, and he wanted more insulation. He was just on something at the time, but anyway, so I had to peel all that off. Again, this is a project that, if you're going to look for a project trailer, this is about probably the condition you're going to find. And all of this is actually relatively easy to fix. But so anyway, come on in. These handles are on pretty much all the vintage trailers back there. And it's kind of a standard thing. There's like 3 different handles that could be used, and so you can get keys and reproductions of those pretty easily. So in here you see the top bunk. It's not a pull-out or anything like that. It's a permanent fixture, which is pretty neat. All the Shastas had these magazine racks somewhere in them. These light fixtures would have had a shade, or in all the Shastas. And then this, pretty much all trailers have a convertible dining area. This one happens to be a little bit different. So this futon pulls out to here on these little hooks, and it lays into a bed. But when not in use, it goes up into this position. And these are 2 tables, gold flecked Formica, that actually sit right here and right here. So it's a split table. It's almost like 2 TV trays. That's weird. Most vintage trailers don't have anything like that. It's usually a single table with 2 benches like this, and the benches fold this way. Because of this bunk setup, they did that down here, which is actually pretty neat. You gain a lot of space with it. So this one has a propane fridge in it rather than an ice box, and rather than a propane electric fridge. It's a propane only. Really cool looking. Real simple little one. Yeah, this one's super cool. And then the same gold flecked Formica tops. Shastas will all have these chevron handles that you see around on a lot of 50s stuff, but Shasta use them for all their trailers. This was the major issue with this trailer, is this water damage. These vents, and this one as well, always leak. These are just made out of wood, other than the frame, basically. So if they're left out in the elements, eventually something gets a little bit of a hole, and once water gets in that, you can see it'll run down this and it'll find the lowest point, which in this case is right here. And this vent did the same thing, and the lowest point. It's just, it'll find a way. And usually the water damage will be in a totally different area than the leak is, which makes it hard to find sometimes. But you always just look to the highest point that could be leaking, seal, and then you just seal everything down. You just take it off, put new butyl tape, which is like a sealing putty, in between, and put it back down. Real easy to fix leaks. Everybody always freaks out because that looks like a huge job, but in reality, it's just a little bit of butyl tape on the outside to make it not leak anymore, and then technically it's campable. And then cosmetically, you just take all this wood off, and you can see this is the outer skin. There's nothing here. It's just a frame of 2x1 and a piece of sheet wood. There's nothing to it. And also all you do is cut out what's bad, put in, replace it with new, and then put a new sheet on. And this is a seam right here. So I mean, if you didn't care about this discoloration right here, which you could fix a little bit, sand it and restain it, you could just go from right here and just replace that one sheet, and you're done. You know what I mean? Whereas this thing would sit and not sell for a long time because people look at that and they go, oh, it's a huge thing. Not a huge thing. So when you're looking at trailers, water damage expected. They're pretty much all going to have water damage of some sort. If you don't find water damage, that's amazing. That means it's been covered or in a garage for all that time. So the stove is gone from this one. I actually sold it with the 58 that I sold. They wanted a full stove rather than the cooktop I put in it, so I sold them this stove because it's the same one. But real simple. It has an oven and a cooktop. All these pane windows, they just rotate. These are usually, you're going to have one or two of these missing or broken if you find a project trailer. These are so easy to replace, it's stupid. All you do is just take one of these into a glass shop and they'll cut it for you probably while you wait. And then you just put a little bit of silicone in here to hold it, slide it back in there, and then let it dry. And then you're good to go. Real easy to replace those. And also, pretty much all trailers, other than certain really rare ones, it'll be all flat glass. So even the main windows, if they're busted, any glass place can cut those for you. You don't have to find a certain window. You just bring them pattern, they'll cut it for you, and you just pop it in and seal it. With the sink on this one, it's only a hardline sink, which you would just attach a hose to on the outside, and then you would turn this and water would come out. A lot of them will have a hand pump with a separate tank, or even an electric pump on the 60s ones that'll pull it out. These are the original window shades for those lamps I was showing you. Real cool, fiberglass. You can see all the threading in them. You can see all this gold flecked Formica. It's really neat when it's all cleaned up. Gas lamp, missing some of the stuff on it, but that would have been a gas lamp. This is the toilet area, which is obviously really small, but this is actually pretty generous for a toilet in a 16-foot trailer. Like I said, this is about the smallest you can find that has a toilet in it, and even then, they're not common. Lots of storage and stuff. Normally, on most Can-Am trailers, you're gonna have the bed in the back, long ways, and it'll be a futon like the front across the back of the trailer, and then you'll have like a closet, and kind of like this, but extended over more. But in this model, because of the different setup, it has a lengthwise bed futon. So this would have the futon, same setup as the front, and then you pull this out and you want to go to sleep, and it turns into another full-size bed. And then this section is supported by these two peg legs, which still has the original legs, which is cool. They're just off. But yeah, so they would just sit out, and it would sit on them. Then most vintage trailers are going to have some kind of a closet, real sparse, but lots of hooks, and they're all going to have these latches that pop, so they don't fly open when you're driving, which is always a good thing. Anyway, yeah. So this is what a project trailer looks like when if you're lucky when you pull it home. This isn't that It probably would take a long Saturday to get this thing honestly usable. Clean it out, get a futon made, replace that futon, and seal the water, and then you're good to go. I already did the bearings. Tires are ordered, so it needs new tires. With bearings, you always want to check those before you tow it home. Just crack them open, see if there's grease in there. If there's not, add grease, put it back. Most of the time the bearings are good. They don't have tons and tons and tons of miles on them. They're just dry if they've been sitting. And then make sure your lights, put your lights on it, or get temporary tow lights to bring it home. Yeah, so I mean, this is what you can expect if you are looking for a project. This is, yeah, I mean, this is I paid $1,500 for this, and that's even. That's not a steal, but it's not overpriced either. It's just kind of right in the middle. But in Southern California, that's the price these go for. You can pull them out from any other part of the country and bring them here, and they're basically worth that. It's just where the center of it is, car culture and all that. But yeah, so in terms of a project, look for something like this. Look for completeness. Check your bearings, check your lights, and check your tires, and make sure they're at least rollable to get you home. Make sure none of the glass or anything's going to fall out. So if you go pick up a trailer, bring your tow lights, bring grease, bring a big pair of channel locks, and bring duct tape, because chances are there's something loose on the trailer on the outside, a door that won't latch, or a window that's kind of floppy or something that you want to duct tape down to get it home. Yeah, it can be real daunting, but it's really not. So anyway, this is a project one. I'm working on our Terry right now, so I probably will have a video of that soon. I'm hoping to actually finish it within like a month. So I might just wait until it's finished to do a video on it. But that's the first trailer installment of V55 Garage, and I'm Justin. Have a good day, you guys.